talking about? Oh, IGTV. Oh my God, you're so cute. Okay.
I'll have her say
Yeah, you don't. No. I mean, this is different. We're gonna do that separately.
I don't even know what we're doing.
You don't even know what we're doing.
No.
That's the whole point.
Yeah, okay.
You shouldn't know.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay, good. I'm excited.
Okay, so we are doing yet another episode of the Wishbeads podcast. That is both an audio recording and a video recording. This is going to be on YouTube.
Oh my God.
And this is such a huge honor because my dear friends, Benjii and Christopher of the Durgas, are here, and you all are such dear friends of mine, and I love you both so much.
Thank
I
you.
am so excited because it is the day
Likewise.
before our special concert.
That's right.
Oh, we have a lot to discuss.
Well,
Okay.
we feel the same about you, Alexa.
Yay!
And we've never done anything inside a trailer.
That's right, because
Shasta
we
trailer
record
number.
this podcast inside my Shasta 1961 Air Flight trailer, which is not really from 1961. It's just a reissue, but man, oh
Reissues are
man,
good.
it just, it works.
It looks
works.
And I did
awesome.
nothing to make it look like this.
I
Yay.
I saw a real one just now in Portland. I was thinking about you. I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
look, there's the-
No, people think when we go camping, they think we redid this, which we correct them that we did not. We just bought it, but it's so much fun. Anyway, okay, so there's lots to talk about. But today is the day before we're going to do our first Wishbeads Durgas concert. And so I just want to kind of dial it back and talk about what this vision was.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay, because we all know Wishbeads, you close your eyes, you go through a visualization, and it hit me one time in a visualization where I was literally standing on a stage, and I knew it was the event that was going to be live streamed and in person, where we were going to wish together for peace. And it was like 1 million people
Wow.
or more. I like that. I like that preference, or more.
That's a good starting number.
Right? 1 million, because it is going to tip like collective consciousness and all that good
Absolutely.
stuff, right? We need peace in this world. So anyway, in my visualization, I'm standing there on the stage and I look to my right and I see in my visualization, and you guys are laughing and you're like strapping on your guitars and you're about to play, but you're just kind of chatting with each other. It was so good.
Wow.
So then, what was it, a few months ago when you were over for dinner?
Yeah.
And we were talking about like, we should just do it. We should just do something, right? So our good friend Jim, who is involved at the Cinema Bar here in LA on La Cienega, I think. No,
It's
on
in
Sepulveda.
Sepulveda.
He graciously gave us time to do our first ever Wishbeads Durgas, Katie J, Julie Frost concert.
awesome.
And we're going to be jamming. And by the time this podcast or whatever this video airs or whatever we're doing with it launches, I do something with it, it will have already happened. So we'll include a link so you can actually see the video from the event because we're going to record it.
That's awesome.
What?
We're excited.
Yay! So the Durgas.
Where do we start?
Where do we start? We can't
When
because
we were young,
Too
or
long.
when we were middle-aged, or when we were old?
Oh no! Old is just a
Spirit.
concept.
It's a spirit.
No, but I think, I mean, literally talking about your life and the journey of the Durgas, like you can't do it in one podcast because it's too much. But your music is otherworldly, and the way that you live your life, the philosophy of your life, in the spirit of the now, coincidences, connections, selfless giving, it's all there. It's all there. That's like you live the Wishbeads philosophy.
Yeah. Which is, I think, also why I'm so excited about this gig, is because there was always a connection.
Yeah, that's how we connected. Yeah.
It was a long connection.
Plus, we do love jewelry too. on top
That's
of it.
right.
I'm
You
hiding
do.
my wish beads right now. 'Cause
Yeah.
they're clanky, but
Yeah.
We love those wish beads, and the idea is awesome. With
Yeah.
the whole meditative thing of putting it into and then wearing it and then making it,
And
just
it-
reminding yourselves.
and
every
it-
day.
Right.
That's a
what's
good thing.
incredible is it actually has worked for me. It's been a year now.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I'm not going to share what I put in my
Okay.
Why not?
Okay.
my
I'm
wishes,
so curious.
but all 5 wishes came true.
Oh my goodness.
All 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I had
Can't you tell
fun.
us one? No
Well,
pressure.
his brother is
No
here.
pressure.
Maybe some of it is.
Yeah. No. You.
No, they were. It was incredible.
Wow.
Like literally one rolled into the one. I'll plug in one wish.
Okay.
But one of the wishes was Vanessa, my wife, started her little company, design company.
Her amazing company.
Amazing company. And one of the wishes was like, within this year, I want to see that sort of flourish. And it did.
It totally did.
It did.
It's amazing. We're going to include a link to her company as well because it's incredible. Her work is incredible.
What's amazing for me, Wishbeads, is that Gregory and I grew up in Africa, and in East Africa and West Africa. But when we were in Mali and also Senegal, we always wore grigris, which were African.
Yeah.
Your African style wish beads.
Talisman kind of.
And
amulet.
The difference with these grigris was that we never knew what was inside the pouches.
Because they also write stuff. The marabout, the witch doctor or whatever, they write things, but we never know really what it is.
And a lot of times it's pieces from the Quran, or it's some, you don't know what's inside. Now you have to be very careful, because if you just wear it as a fashion statement, you might be wearing something that does not bring you good luck.
Right.
And it can go south really fast.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I loved about Wishbead is to keep that same tradition, but that you had a sense of control of your own witchcraft, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, like
that
white witch. White witchcraft.
Yeah, but that you actually have that power within you to wear your grigri, and that's and
the collective thing of it. You know that you wear it, others wear it, and then we all have our wishes, but it kind of brings us all together also, there's a
Well, yeah. And I think that, just thinking about this event that we're and the intention that we're setting forth, can you tell us a little bit about your work and the work that you've done with music and the giving back with music? Because there's something about the energy of intentions, the energy of music, and bringing people together. And I think that would be amazing for people who aren't familiar with your amazing work to just learn a little bit about your history.
Yeah, so we started out pretty much more of a conventional band, and with this sort of what young musicians have. We're gonna write, we're gonna tour, and we're gonna be, we're gonna actually make a living off our music, and it's gonna be great. And we did that in our own sort of path. We had our little ups and downs, and there were moments where we were doing actually pretty good, self-sustained on the road. And then as we grew older and older, we kept it going, because we're hoping for that one day we just got to keep going. And our father was always like, don't give up, just keep going. And we kept it going. And at one point when we were, I think in our early 40s, we decided, you know what, let's just, instead of continuing touring always in this sort of club arena, why don't we start branching off the regular path? And
it had a little bit like everything was all about entertainment, and which is awesome when you're, especially you're in your 20s, and you love the entertainment part, and we were good at it, and we loved it, but then with time it became, there was a lack of depth somehow,
and it was
felt like we wanted to add a little depth to it. And so we had experience already back right at the beginning. We were always involved because of our upbringing, doing shows for Food Not Bombs and all these other, we did a lot of charity or whatever, like shows that were to bring
a cause,
social
causes.
Yeah. And then it was like, so we always loved coming away from those shows. We always felt good. You felt good about it, because suddenly it was about not just the pure entertaining factor, but there's some, some other elements. And
his fans are calling.
and so basically that's what happened is that I got to turn my off too. What happened is that
we're so professional. Yeah. We're like, oh yeah, our cell phones.
We decided to spend more time. Well, then we got invited to Kosovo during the war, so that was kind of like it seemed like impossible, and then it turned into like an incredible experience.
So you went to Kosovo.
Yeah, we
Wow.
started doing we did a bunch of reconciliation concerts, and then that really
inspired
opened the
us,
door for us. And we're like, whoa, this is music in a different setting and different way we've ever experienced it. Also, in not only like what we give to the audience, but what we were receiving back from the audience, and that changed everything. And we were like, this is actually more of our path. It's way more interesting to us. So we branched off right off Kosovo, and we ended up playing for the World AIDS Conference in Thailand, and we just literally, it's just, aside from the conference, everything was sort of unplanned, and we had a pickup. We put a PA system on there. We had bamboo sticks to hold the mics, and we just went into refugee camps and in AIDS hospitals all over Thailand and just played for the kids with not much gear, just randomly. And we did that for a few years, and then that sort of became our sort of, in a way, its own mission. And so we would still continue, and we're still touring, but we love to do these side projects, working with refugees in Europe, doing musical workshops with refugees, playing something that feeds our soul, not just giving out entertainment.
And then the thing is, people always say when we were doing just purely entertainment, people were like, so are you making a living off of it? And we were like,
no.
Yeah, well, in a way it was paying itself. Like we weren't like in debt or anything,
Sure.
We were always on the road. So it was kind of fun and cool. But there was, the focus was always, are we making a living, meaning money? And that bothered us too. We're like, well, no, of course not. Like,
we're playing refugee
really
camps.
Does? Yeah. But there's so much more. There's so much more you can get out of your arts. Self-satisfaction. There's so much more. And why isn't anybody? Why doesn't that count? Because why are you always just asking about one element like this?
And it's not. It's. I think also a lot of people, they think it's like a lifetime thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like once they get into that, then that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. It's not about that. It's like, we might have done 30 reconciliation shows or 5. One person might just be on on a tourist trip to Thailand, and he ends up in a hotel on the beachfront, but he knows how to play guitar. And our motto was always like, if you could spend one day of your 10-day vacation and just research where's the closest refugee camp on any given beach in Thailand, you will very likely find out there's one couple hundred yards behind you in thing. And you don't have to it doesn't have to be your mission or your job or your you just go there,
and it connects you immediately.
And all of a sudden you have this whole new perspective about life, and you're giving back.
And you're getting and you're giving, and you have this incredible adventure. Suddenly that trip just,
and it's not like a lot of people, I think unfortunately also a lot of artists have poverty tourism in their agenda, where they're like, I got my career, it's going well, what do I lack? So if I go to a refugee camp, this is going to buy me a story. We're not into that.
No, I know.
But luckily also we never had that pressure of selling, millions of albums or whatever. We just do it for our own good, and we don't. A lot of times we go completely unprepared.
Usually,
totally under the radar, which is also why we've been able to do it a lot of times, because we go under the radar. Right? We show up in a country, and we're like, okay, so where can we play? Like, So that's
so interesting.
Mission. And I think that Wishbeads, there's a connection.
It's that connection.
There is.
Kind of
and I also like the fact that as we're sitting here on April 13th, 2019, we have no idea how we're going to pull this thing off. The 1 million wishes at once, this stage, and we don't care.
It's going to come.
It'll come.
Together.
We'll figure it out.
Always somehow.
And I also think that, just to go way back, actually, so I met both of you before I ever heard you play. Like, I just adored, I just adored you, right? We were anyway. We won't go into all that. But then when I heard you all play, there is such soul and spirit and energy and channeling of I don't even know what that I was so blown away. I remember, I think it was on the east side somewhere. Remember you had like candles everywhere.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
It was with Noah's at that church.
Yeah, it was
Kind of
so
like
good. It was so good. And I think that when kindred spirits find one another and they share a common vision, then you just have to dance.
Yeah.
Then you
I
just have to
agree.
figure it out. So I don't even know how, it was probably 10 years ago that
Yeah.
concert
And what's
was.
also nice is
I don't
like
know.
you know, is when you know, beads and music. What's the connection? And there's that incredible thing of like, well, we're gonna find out.
We're going to find out.
And also, like, look
We're
at
gonna
the
find
beads.
out.
Beads, like, surround you,
Yeah.
right? They connect you. They go.
They do.
There's so much
Yeah.
that you could really like trip on if you wanted to get into.
Oh, completely. And
Yeah.
I think that, like you were talking about in the Mali culture, I mean, there are so many people that I tell about Wishbeads, and my friends who are like, oh, it's like a mezuzah, which is a
Yeah.
prayer you have on your door,
Exactly.
or oh, it's like this. Oh,
You're like
because
prayer beads, you know?
Yeah.
Like in even in Greece, you know, the thing that you have that you twirl around your hand, it's more like it's not even a prayer bead. It's like they just all, at one point, I don't know if they still do it, but they had this.
I don't know
that's
about the
right.
Greek one.
Yes,
I'll look
I
that up.
remember that.
And
yeah.
it was looked very similar.
I know
and-
about the Tibetan prayer
No, that's-
wheel.
that's
That
like,
I
yeah.
know.
But you just flip it
It's
through your
just a-
fingers, and everybody had it.
It's a
Ooh.
Greek
It's like-
version of those spinny things.
Oh,
Yeah.
fidget spinner.
Yeah, well, it's like an old Greek version.
An old version.
Like a very old version.
I am gonna look that up. I don't know
and
that
it was
one.
like, I remember it as a kid. We all came back from Greece when we were there once when we were like 13 or 12 or something. And we all came back, and it was so meditative. It was like also this thing, you know, like it was kind of, you know, so there's a lot
Yeah.
of,
I love it. Well, you know, I think the other thing for me why I always love spending time with you both is this idea that you live in a different rhythm than most people. And I know you've had a very eclectic upbringing and you've lived all over the world and you traveled you've had so many experiences that I think we played a game, right? Last time you were here when the kids were, I was like, boys, ask Cry, throw out anything and see if he has a story for it. And I think Elliot was like, a lion. And you're like, I got an amazing lion story.
Yeah.
Right?
We did.
So this idea, like the way that you all are and the way that you live your life, it opens up this idea that anything is possible.
It is.
And I think that just breaking free from the everyday that we all get stuck in is so refreshing. So when we look at problems like, you know, world peace, you know, big problem, very complicated. People think, well, there's nothing. No. Like, what is that going to do? Little wish for peace.
oh.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And it makes you work for it.
Yes.
And it reminds you, you know, making something like
Yeah.
doing like this. It's like an oath, like a wish. It's a wish, and
Yeah.
you're working for it because
Yeah.
you're getting reminded every day. And anything like you work for it, you know, like, you know, that's why it's not always available to everybody because of a lack of education or a lack of social circumstance and stuff. But if you know, find a way to do what you really love to do, there is a way. Because then you'll love the work. You know,
the
'cause
journey.
everything
Yes.
takes work, a lot of
Yes.
work.
Yes.
But you'll love that work.
Yeah.
It won't be like this.
Yeah. You won't be
Thing.
pushing it away and pushing
like,
it away
I
and
hate
pushing
you
it
know,
away.
You're like
Yeah.
eager to go to work for
Yeah.
what you are, you know, loving,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah. And when you can do it with friends, you're not doing it like in a silo.
Well, that's the other
you know?
thing. And we've
Because-
always been collaborators. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the other thing.
Yeah.
I mean, collaboration is everything to
Yeah.
me. I love it.
Yeah.
And I have respect for those that are like in their own world and do amazing art. I'm always kind of fascinated by that because
Mm-hmm.
I'm so into collaboration. I need the energy of everybody to collectively
Yeah.
like go for it. And,
Yeah. Well, this is why it's so fun that kind of link arms and actually throw this out to the universe and
There
be
you go.
like, let's do
A
it.
million wishes.
A million
coming up.
wishes. Why not? Why not?
I think it's
I
awesome.
think million is just a starting number.
Yeah.
I do too, but it's like
A
you have
million
to have
and more, like
what I
you
call
say.
like a pin in the map. Like, what's it going to be? And I've had people be like, "Huh?" And like,
Yeah.
when do you want to do this? I was like, 2020. Like,
Yeah,
2020
that's a
vision.
good-
A million people
Exactly.
wishing. I said,
Absolutely.
this is not a political agenda. It's not. It supersedes everything. I don't care who you are. I don't care what
Yeah,
your
absolutely.
belief is. It's just peace.
Because
And
I think everybody wants peace.
everybody wants
Yeah,
peace.
totally.
I think
You
so,
want
yeah.
peace of mind. You
Yeah,
want peace in your
totally.
communities. And I had the great pleasure of actually hearing the Dalai Lama speak one time. He was at the, I think it was called the First Lady Conference. Oh, I'm going to butcher this. It was when Arnold Schwarzenegger was governor and Maria Shriver had this amazing
Yeah.
conference in Long Beach, and he was a guest, and he was talking about how peace has to start here. Yourself.
Yeah.
I'm pointing to myself. It starts within, and then that circle grows to like your home, and then that circle grows to your street,
Yeah.
and then your street grows to your community, and it just grows and grows and grows and grows.
Totally.
And so
yeah, it's
I-
it's what in East Africa it was called Ujama. It was the same
Mm-hmm.
idea. It's you start with yourself and you work yourself to your family and then out into the community, and it was a program that was set up.
He actually wrote his
Yeah, my thesis was all about
thesis
that.
About
What? Of
Ujama.
course it was. Cracker.
You name a story and we got it.
You name a story. I was like, story roulette.
Yeah.
Cracker. Do you have one about?
Ujama project.
It's the Ujama project.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm just thinking out loud here.
Yeah.
So how do we involve these refugee camps or communities in Africa? I do have some contacts in Africa, but when we think about this sort of bigger event, because I would love to. This is not about selling bracelets.
Right, no,
This has nothing to do with
yeah.
that. It's really about creating a community and an intention and a moment
Yeah.
in time
Yeah.
where people can connect
Right.
and be a part of it virtually, because we all have these crazy.
that's funny because-
Things, right?
interesting enough.
We're
That's
just-
why I think that we have the musical portion of that, and then in our family we have Studio HHH, which has the tech side of that, and
Right.
somehow we don't know what it is. And then with your Wishbeads and the whole thing, how can we?
How do we throw it out there to
Yeah,
have
and
this
we're gonna
moment?
we're gonna find out.
And technology now has become awesome because you can actually do a project without
Mm-hmm.
being like, for instance, we're doing this refugee thing, or we're trying to do this next thing with the Rohingya in Burma, and the big thing is like everybody thinks it's a great idea, but nobody wants to endorse it publicly. They're all like, yeah, we love it, but it's a very touchy subject. So we're like, okay, let's get away from the political thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll just go like, how could we make it work without that? Just what do we need? Well, we need gadgets because we can't actually get into the refugee camps.
Yes.
Because because of the political situation
Yes,
right
yes.
now, it's too hot. And we've done many situations where it was hot, but this is more extreme hot.
Yeah, it's not.
And it would be like endangering others, so we wouldn't want to do that. But that doesn't mean that there's no way in. So like, I was sitting with people discussing it, and one of the group was like, "Oh, are you crazy? You shouldn't do it. You just heard it's impossible." And I said, "No, it's not impossible.
Nothing's impossible.
Nothing's right. We just have to figure out the way in, and it should be done because there's a lot of
And we're
musicians.
gonna do it through technology.
Yeah,
Through
there's a lot of
technology.
musicians
We're-
there that
yeah.
they could be heard, and we could
Do it through
collaborate.
technology.
And all we need is some
All we
technology.
need is phones.
Yeah, phones. iPhones.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
If anybody listening or watching this has some ideas,
I'm sure. Yeah, there's
Throw 'em
got
to us.
throw them
Yeah.
to us. Email me at hello@wishbeads.com and give me your ideas, because I do see that this is so super doable.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
we're
totally.
just talking about everybody focusing on one thing.
Yeah.
Piece
Peace,
at
totally.
one time,
And
and,
it's-
allow that energy of that intention connecting
And
to
it's-
that collectively and seeing what happens.
Yeah,
think it's-
and if you
yeah.
can reach, I mean, what is a million people? There's
billions on the
that's
planet.
billions. So a million is not much.
We're almost at like
But it
8
takes
billion or 7
it takes
billion now,
so
7 billion.
little. It takes nothing.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much of your time. It's like one thought piece.
Yeah.
But if everybody can do it simultaneously,
Yeah.
and that's the challenge. I think. Well, what I'm also interested technology wise is like how can we build something where
Everybody's-
a million wishes come together on a digital board or
Yeah.
what is it?
Right. Something that can really mark.
Yeah, you
The
it
event.
senses it, like, and
Yeah.
as it reaches that million, and then if it goes more
There's
like
a lot
a boom,
of different.
and it's all just a
So-
thought, like, so
And we
it's,
live,
It's a thought.
you know, it's funny a lot, you know, as more digital and more tech the world's becoming, like the yin and yang, we're also in an incredible lucky space now that there's so much good we can do with the technology.
I know.
We can go, you know, like we're saying, we can, we can't go to get into this refugee camp because somebody might put on a suicide belt and say there's foreigners in there, and we would actually endanger other people.
Yeah.
So but we want to perform to those people and bring in our thing. So find musicians inside and use the technology where it's like we write a common song, they perform it inside the camp.
We're stream it,
inside the
play-
Shasta, and we are connecting.
we could
Totally.
connect right here. And
Do you remember that video that went viral? That was one song that
Yeah, I love
everybody
that.
danced
Yeah,
and
yeah.
What
It
was that?
Yeah, it was.
It was beautiful.
We are the world.
Yeah, no, there was the other one. It was the one that also Katie Chase knows.
Oh, yeah,
People, what are they called?
I can't remember. I remember that.
Yes,
It was
know.
beautiful. The people
Yeah,
that were,
it was
everyone was
beautiful, and
dancing,
then
and you
they went
realize that at
through
the
the
end of
whole-
the day, we are the same. We are the
Yeah,
same.
exactly.
And we all have the great capacity for wonderful things, and we all have the great capacity for destruction.
Yeah.
So that means that we just need to encourage people in this direction of this connection of hope that we have not forgotten
And
about those who are
recalibrate somehow.
Yes, yes.
And there's
yes.
so many, there's so many streams happening right now that we're not even aware of. People doing the same thing we're doing right now.
Yeah.
But we're doing our thing, and
Yeah.
that's the best we can do.
Yeah.
And then on our path, we find other people. Oh, you're doing this. Oh, you're doing
Great.
this, and that's how it starts.
And then you
Yeah.
and then you just
Yeah,
you
Yeah.
connect,
totally.
you make that connection, and then
because
Yeah.
a lot of times, also when you were thinking of playing for change earlier,
yeah.
but a lot of times what happens
I knew it was a basic.
when you have an idea, and like in this case of world peace, a lot of people take that route immediately. Like, how do I hit the big hitters, the big organizations? And you'll find that that's one avenue, but it's a very complicated avenue because you hit roadblocks where sometimes these small grassroots ideas. And this is one thing what I love about you, Alexa. Like, you just go for it. These grassroots, like,
Just
I'm gonna
make it up.
do it. These are the things.
Yeah.
These are what we need more of.
Yeah.
Because we experience, like, when we end up in, and I have a great story actually. I'll just make it really quick. But when we were going into the refugee camps in at the border in Thailand, I was in LA before between one of our trips there, and I happened to meet Donovan, the big Donovan.
Donovan.
Bob
They
Dylan
call me
Donovan.
Mellow Yellow.
The mellow yellow Donovan.
Yeah.
And the organizer at the place where I was at, he's like, oh, you should meet Benjii. He plays in refugee camps in Thailand and doing all these border conflict zones and playing shows. And then Donovan immediately looks over to me and goes, oh, so you do? Me and my wife been trying to play there for a long time, and it's just like every time we is about to go, something happens. Like, you can't go.
Does he have that accent too?
He's from England.
Is that in English?
That's my English. But what was amazing, I was looking at him, and and he was sort of like, "How do you do it?" And
Just go.
And I said, well, you're Donovan, and I'm Benjii from the Durgas. I go under the radar.
Yeah.
Like, who knows the Durgas, right?
Yeah.
And but my point was, and he was like, yeah, he totally got it. Like the red tape that sometimes when
when you make it too big, when you get
It's too much.
But
too much.
If
you
Well,
write
and
the
if you've
development.
if you've also met celebrities who are like uber celebrities,
Yeah.
they actually lose their
They
freedom
lose their freedom
because
Exactly.
they can't just wander
Exactly.
around basically
Exactly.
anywhere.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
why,
yeah.
when
Yeah.
you have something like A Million Wishes, again, that's what I love about the beads, because you have your bead you wear this bracelet, you put in your own wishes, and it can. What I love that I only gave you one of my wishes because my other wishes didn't necessarily involve it all around me. Right?
Yes.
But that you sort of feed that bracelet with your thoughts and whatever you want it to be. And that same approach is how we go about when we go to these places.
Yes.
We don't go with this thing of like, oh, I need this and I need... Hey, you know, at one point we're like, okay, we don't have the money, so we need a house to paint. So we paint a house. And
Get
we're
the
like,
money?
You know, before we had kids. But...
Yeah.
You know, that kind of approach, it doesn't always have to be. And I think that's what I see.
Yeah.
When I see like a million wishes, I'm like, a million wishes is nothing.
It's nothing. And I also think that sometimes people think that if you're wishing, the expectation is there's no obstacles, you're just being like blindly positive all the time. And that's not true. There's always obstacles.
There's always obstacles.
And that's
Always.
part of the
and,
deal.
and obstacles are not our challenges.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and they're
challenges
not necessarily-
keep us on
Keeps
top
it-
of things.
Exactly.
You know, like we learn a lot.
Exactly.
And
you
kind
learn
of-
about yourself.
And it's a recalibration
Yes.
of oneself.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, like challenges are a good thing. And
Completely
these
a good
obstacles,
thing.
I mean, we look at all those amazing stories we've experienced. Now we love talking about it.
Yeah.
Some of them were really hard to figure out how to get around, but
Yeah.
yeah, they're not a bad thing. It's the same like responsibility. People talk about responsibility
Yeah.
like as this
Thing I don't want to deal
thing
with.
I don't want to deal with. It's like, oh my, you don't know what you're missing. Like it makes you feel good when you
Yeah.
you manage to figure
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah.
It's
You
tough.
accomplish it.
And
yeah.
I think
You-
what's also
you own it,
important...
and then you're like, wow, I feel kind of good right now. It's like I managed
Yeah.
to get around it. You know, that's a good
What's
thing.
also
Yeah.
important is that if you put in the wish, it doesn't mean that you have to expect that the outcome is going to go your way. That's not what it's about. What it's about is that when the outcome goes against what you hoped for, you said, well, at least that was not my wish.
Yeah.
And so that's also a power of the whole thing, because if a million wishes, we know through Wishbeads, there were a million Wishbead people that wished for world peace. We know that was a million people that wished for it, even if the outcome still in history keeps going down.
Yeah.
That's a million people that you can set aside. And that power,
Yeah.
whether it
has to lead to something
leads
good,
to
right?
something.
It always
And
it
even if-
always
energy.
leads.
And it's all energy. And for
energy
me,
leads somewhere.
and for me in this moment, right? This moment, if you wear a wish bead bracelet or you don't, you are planting a magical seed. And we may not be on this planet when those seeds come
Exactly.
and bloom,
Yeah.
but we will be the bearers
Yeah.
and like the sort of tilling the soil of those
Exactly.
intentions.
And
Exactly.
human beings have done that in one way or another. Their whole because why do we keep doing it? Like if that has not worked, why would we have given
Yeah.
up prayers, or such
Right.
things?
Right.
Why we
Right.
would have, it
Yeah.
wouldn't make any sense
Yeah.
to continue, but
Yeah.
because they lead to somewhere.
It does lead to
And
somewhere.
and it's a
Yeah.
This intention is awesome. I love it.
Oh my goodness. And we are like less than 24 hours away from our first
Yay.
one. Oh, I'm so excited.
I'm excited too. 'Cause
I'm excited
It's
too.
also nice to be back in LA and do
Yeah.
something.
And hopefully we will get more people to follow you in LA, because you're always playing in Europe, you're always
I
playing in
know.
Asia, you're playing all over the place.
Yeah.
And now it's time to get some
Yeah.
US gigs,
Yeah.
man, because
Yes.
the Durgas are amazing.
Well, we also need to.
So if you didn't see the gig, then go back into the future and show up tomorrow.
That's right. Yeah.
That's the thing. Talk
That's
about
right.
technology.
Yeah. Moving around. But we are going to be filming. We're going to be streaming it on Instagram. We're going to be streaming it on Facebook. We're going to be taking a video of it. We'll capture as much. You're on Spotify. Is that the best way for people to
Yeah.
find you?
Yep.
So you're on Spotify. Katie J, who's an amazing performer. Is going to be doing her own work, and I've got her on. I'll put a link to her on Spotify, and then Julie Frost, who is a dear friend, who won the Eurovision songwriting contest in 2011, won a Golden Globe for a song she co-wrote with Madonna. You probably heard of her, and she's just the most amazing spirit ever.
She is.
And so she's going to be singing her original songs as well. So we're just so lucky.
we're
Oh my
so-
God!
We're so excited.
Oh, it's going to be be so much fun.
Awesome.
So thank you for coming to the trailer. The Shasta,
beautiful
it's
Shasta.
Shastastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
we've
I thank
actually
you for being
spent
on the podcast.
night here once or twice, actually.
Because it also doubles as a guest room.
Yes, and it's an
This
awesome
turns into a
one.
bed
Yeah,
with sheets that match.
totally. Yeah.
Totally, because why not? Because it's so
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
And I will put in all the show notes all the links to you and the work that you're doing, and we can share and love. And I'm serious. If anyone is listening or watching this, and you have an idea for this 1 Million Wishes event plus, let us know.
Yes, please
Email
do.
hello@wishbeads.com.
Fantastic. Alexa, we love you.
Alexa.
I love
We
you
love
too.
you.
Mwah, mwah. We'll do it European style. Mwah, both cheeks.
Yay!
We do 3 cheeks even in some way.
Oh, no.